So it's finally about time that I updated this deck. It was funny. I've been wanting to update this deck for a while, at least on the channel, but it kept changing. I was on a grind with Orfist for like a really long time. This was like I'm not sure how long ago. Like a couple weeks ago, I was like on a really big grind with Orfist because I just kept topping at the local game stores that I frequented with Orfist because it just felt so strong to me. Like not strong as like it's the strongest deck, but like it's like so good at what it does, like so consistent in making a board, and just keeping card advantage from CB2 calling 3 free token units. Well, not free, but like just consistent in making numbers and keeping hand. It was I know it's a 3 attack deck, but it feels like the best 3 attack deck to me. Man, let's get some to profile. This deck gets crazy. This deck gets crazy in set 3. I can't wait for set 3. This is gonna be my set 3 deck. Like, just because of how I just love the idea of what Orfist can do in set 3, because the new order is, oh my goodness. Like, this is gonna be my set 3 deck. So of course, max out your copies of the Persona Ride needed to make those 40k, 48k lines. 43 with the Vanguard behind them, 15k booster. And then I'm only running 8 orders. I'm running 4 Howling, and I'm running 4 Eclipsed. Now the reason that originally I was only running 1 Eclipse because that's the key card. Let me move this up a little bit. Alright, there you go. So the reason I was only running like 1 Eclipse because that's the one that you want to search to obviously like for your turn 2 aggression to summon a token as soon as possible. But I actually bumped it up to 4, and this is the reason why. You have a really tough time against decks that can mass get rid of your board, to whereas you have to keep doing the CB2 every turn, and you really can only recover your board maybe 2 times maximum, like 3 times, depending on how many times you countercharge and you heal. But you really can only recover your board like twice max. So I just feel like this is just such an important card against those types of decks that can really easily take your board away, like Barrel Magnus. Like, oh my goodness, like it has such a bad barrel match, at least in my opinion. At least like whenever I play an Orfist deck, while I'm playing Barrel Magnus, I'm never scared. Like if I saw that, oh bless my heart, if I saw an Orfist player at the Kingslayer Cards tournament, ooh, I was hoping I would see Prison too, just because, oh my god, Prison is so free, but I didn't get to see any of those decks. But yeah, the reason I'm maxing out is because you obviously want to draw this. This is want to be your first order. If you don't draw it, you're obviously going to search it. But I want to search this, because when you search that is a free, that's deck thinning your deck by 2 cards. One because you searched, and then the second from its ability to draw a card. But yeah, this deck is not really like retire based like how I originally intended it to be. Now it's more of like recovery / aggression based, if that makes any sense. Let's go. Then 4 Alviderd, just because he's a better Cubist. He's a better Cubist because he has a second effect besides a 15k attacker. He's a 12k attacker when you only have 1 order. When you have 2, he becomes 15, and then obviously after his attack, you pop a token, cherry pop a token to pop a rear. But he's really just your spot removal of the deck. You don't really use its ability to pop if you don't need to. Or if you're facing a deck that's just gonna like clear board anyway, like you might as well just pop to retire a rear, even if it's really not that important rear guard. Move this up. Where's it going up? Right there? Is that my limit? Yeah, that's my limit. And then 4 Thumberino. This is what allows you to make those oh my god, whenever you open whenever you do Eclipsed on turn 2, on Cubizia, you're gonna give the 5k to Cubizia, and then you just go call Thumberino behind it. That's almost guaranteed 2 damage. Almost guaranteed 2 damage, which is so good. But you don't really want to use it to, like, sometimes I don't really abuse it in the early if I don't have to, just because it gets rid of the column, you know. So technically, like, because you're playing this card from hand, technically when you do that, technically it's a -1. But it is really good play just to push for damage early. But you mostly want to use it on your first grade 3 turn, or your second and all after that. And then I cut this. At first I cut it to 2, and then I was playing 2 of the other counter charge that lets you like counter charge in the main phase. But I just maxed it out at 4 again, just because number 1, Soul. Like, I only really use this in the early game, like on turn 2 or turn 3. Not really using it in the late because it's not really needed. But, just want to max it out because you want to see it. It is the only form of counter charge you have in the deck right now. Until set 3, then you're going to be running like so many counter charges. But until now, we're just maxing out for him. I don't really. It's just like, yes, you get the counter charge, but at the same time, it makes a weak column. So it's kind of finicky on how you want to, maneuver your board or board state. And then I'm playing 3 Ramp Root. What is this card? I'm glad you asked. Ramp Root is a grade 1 8K. The reason that I'm playing Ramp Root over the Phoenix card, or like not Phoenix, but like Eagle card, or even Cardinal Fang, which boosted the consistency of my deck. The reason I'm running Ramp Root is because if I'm going second, going second or going first. I could call this to going first is technically better. I could call this to the board and swing with it. And if they don't do anything to it, next turn when I play an order card, doesn't matter which order it is because they're both set orders. Next turn when I play an order card, I could still swing with it, make at least a 23k column, if not a 28k column. And I can get rid of it before turn 3 because it gains the intercept ability since I have a set order. So that's just the real. I wish I could play more copies, but everything else just needs to be maxed out at 4. Like, there's really not much negotiation. You want 4 of this, you want 4 of that. Maybe I can cut a counter charger. But you really only want to see maybe 1 copy of this or 2 copies in the early. So playing 3 copies of Ramp Root just for like more early game aggression, because on your turn 2, checking a crit is disgusting. And just getting your opponent to high damage just makes those 30k columns you consistently make in the turn 3 onward even scarier, versus you swing with your Vanguard unboosted, they block you with a 15, and then turn 2 you deal like 1 or 2 damage, and then turn 3 they can like eat 2 attacks. So it's just like, this deck works out way better if you're just able to aggress your opponent and they can attack rears, but you could. That's another reason that the counter charger becomes way more useful, because if you have at least 1 open counterblast, you could still just eclipse into Thumberino and still push. So that's my reasoning for playing. You could say I'm wrong, but I'm just trying to deal with not necessarily problems with the deck, but areas where I found that the deck is kind of weak in, if that makes any sense. To the triggers. Obviously, you're going to play the Brandgate. Over trigger is just the best one in Brandgate. There's really no reason to play the Cray Elemental. We're still playing only 3 of the 20k fronts, because, again, this deck is disgusting if you're able to pull off critical triggers in the early. So that's why we are running 8 critical triggers. The more crits you flip in the early, the more your opponent goes, uh-oh. And then obviously I forgot to I forgot until now, but 4 PGs. Just because obviously the best you want it. Like, there's really not much to talk about in the PGs. And again, the crits, you would just rather see a crit over a front because this is a 3 attack deck. You don't really value the fronts as much because your columns are already kind of big. Or like, you know, your columns are already big. If they don't have a 20k front, they need 2 cards to guard. Or if they don't have a defensive, they need 2 cards to guard. But there's really not much to talk about when it comes to Orfist. Still a solid tier 2 deck in my opinion until set 3. Then I believe the deck really pushes into tier 1 status. Not for the reasons that you think. Not cause it can multi-attack now. No, that really doesn't matter. It's that order card. That order card should have been the triple rare, to be honest. Such a good it's just such a good card. That was something that the deck needed just to push beyond its boundaries and resources. But anyways, like, comment, subscribe down below. Tell me what you think about the deck, what you think about my techs, I guess, or my theories, and I'll be loading up some matches with this deck pretty soon. So bye.